Introducing the all-new 252 electric range at Hugo Luna Motors. See our Peugeot E2008, now available in electric. This bold SUV boasts a striking design with sleek LED headlamps and a redesigned grille for a powerful presence. With zero CO2 emissions and 156 HP of power, the E2008 delivers efficiency and performance. Discover more at hugolunamotors.ie. Drive the future today.
Hello, and you are very welcome to this week's episode of Let's Go Green here on Midlands 103. I hope you are safe and well as you tune in to this week's programme. I'm your host, as always, Aisling O'Rourke. Well, on this week's show, we're going to be talking a little bit about those downpours we've been experiencing recently. We will be looking ahead to a circular Christmas event hosted in conjunction with the Toy Library by Offaly County Council this coming weekend. And we're going to be checking in on a project that was awarded Best Sustainable Project at the Offaly Community and Voluntary Awards. We're accidentally awfully heavy on this week's episode of Let's Go Green. But we're joined now by Dr. Clare Bergin, and Dr. Bergin is from the ICARUS Centre at Maynooth University. Clare, you're very welcome to the programme.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Now, anecdotally, it feels like the rain we've been experiencing recently is heavier than usual, that we've been getting these massive downpours. And this is something yourself and your colleagues at Maynooth University and Meitheal have been looking at. What exactly have you discovered?
Yeah, thanks. So what we've been doing is looking at a few weekends ago, you might remember there was an orange rainfall warning for Dublin, Wexford and Wicklow. So we actually looked at this event to see, did climate change caused by humans actually change the type of rain we had? So we found that this 2-day rainfall period was actually 12% heavier than it would have been had there not been human global warming. So what we mean by that is 1.3 degrees of warming since pre-industrial times. This at the minute is only set to get warmer in the future. You might remember the Paris Agreement 10 years ago. They were hoping to stay under 1.5 degrees of warming. Then, or at worst case scenario, 2 degrees, but kind of current trajectories show we will actually reach 3 degrees of warming. So we're looking at how, so far, this rainfall event is 12% heavier. Then if we actually look at 1.5 degrees of warming, it will be 13% heavier. At 2 degrees of warming, it should be over 15% heavier and over 20% heavier by 3 degrees of warming. So we can only expect these 2-day downpours to get wetter and wetter.
Lovely. That's fantastic news for us, Clare. We all love a good downpour, but in all seriousness, this has very real consequences for us. I know, only last Friday, I was in a building in Dublin when the downpour hit then, and it did feel like the roof was going to come in on top of me because it just felt so heavy and so severe, and that, of course, then that morning made driving conditions much more difficult. I know there was, traffic delays. We all experience the consequences of this and the dangers that it brings.
Yeah, so the double-edged knife for this one is as well, because we are having heavier rainfall, we actually found that in the 30 days leading up to the event, we were having much heavier rainfall too. So those 30 days leading up to the event were 7 degrees wetter than normal. They're set to become even wetter again. But if there is 3 degrees of warming, there'll be over 11% heavier rainfall than in a pre-industrial era. So what this actually means is that soils become waterlogged, rivers are very high, etc. So then when it does rain, there's nowhere for the water to go. You said again, you are experiencing heavy downpours when you're just out and about, and that is true. We're not necessarily seeing much of a change in the frequency of these events, but they are just getting wetter. It's kind of anecdotally, the drizzly days don't seem to be as frequent as they used to. It's more heavy rainfall days.
And then, of course, that means then that there's extra extra pressures on infrastructure, things like drains that normally carry the water away in these events. They may not be able to cope, and then you see, backfill back out onto the streets and unfortunately people's homes.
Exactly. So, obviously rainfall, it can change in location very quickly, but it's been maintaining, clear shores and drains for the water to go to. And it's also important then for funding in the future to go into flood mitigation systems. There's highly populous areas now and they're in near rivers. It's to make sure that these rivers are well drained. Now, the county councils this time were really good. They got the warning from Meitheal and they were able to put in all their efforts and had pumps ready. But I guess the problem is if this happened and we weren't as forewarned that this storm was coming. So Claudia had actually originated the system sort of off the north coast of Africa, but then it got named when it reached Spain and Portugal. And then as we watched the storm come upwards and we kind of knew that this rain was coming as it hit a cold front from the north. But it'll be just interesting to see if it's not as clear too many days in advance that this happens, how things would change from a logistics point of view for the community, kind of the responders in the county councils. But also, we got very lucky this time that it happened during a neap tide, so that's quite a low tide. And then if this were to happen, say, during a spring tide, there's nowhere for the water to run off into the sea. So coastal towns might actually see quite a negative effects, and that loads of coastal flooding and in towns and villages on the coast is quite possible in the future, should it actually coincide with the spring tide.
And Claire, you specifically looked at Storm Claudia to I suppose, to illustrate all of this, and it targeted in the eastern part of the country, right up into County Laois, and a large section of the country was affected by this. But you mentioned that you were looking at the effects of man-made climate change or human-made climate change. So how do you, how can you prove that it is human-made? Because I know that there will be people who are still, maybe on the fence or very sceptical that this is caused by humans.
Yeah, and look, I completely understand why people might not be fully convinced on this, because yes, the climate does change by itself. Hands up to that happens. But it's actually the rate at which it is changing that we're concerned about. So since what we call the pre-industrial era, so you're talking about 1850, the rate of global heating is way quicker than it has been in millennia previously. And that's what we're concerned about. We've had ice ages, we've had cold periods, warm periods, etc. But they change very slowly. They're more like over hundreds of years. This is over 150, 200 years. We've got a 1.3 nearly higher change in temperature, and that's just not normal. So we can attribute, and it's not me who decided this, a lot of scientists and a lot of groups have come up with the similar numbers, and they're all saying, actually, if we're actually being conservative, there's only been 1.3 degrees of warming. There's other groups saying it's more like 1.5 so far. So we will definitely reach 1.5 in the next couple of years. That's inevitable if we don't change something drastically. So it's not like we're not denying that things haven't changed in the past, but it's this really quick change in the last 150, 200 years that we're most concerned about. And that is what we're seeing the big changes from. So we also looked at
No, continue, Claire, because it's very important.
No, it's just we also looked at a study there. This summer was the warmest summer in Ireland, and most people said that it wasn't that interesting. They didn't really feel it as the warmest summer, and that was the issue. It didn't really feel that interesting. So we had no really strange weather conditions in previous really warm summers that you remember, the 95s, the 76s. They were weird summers. This was a really average summer, but it was warm temperatures at night and during the summer as well that just pushed that average up. So we are seeing this, and people might say, for Ireland, do we really care? Because it's a bit wetter, it's a bit warmer. it's then the knock-on effects globally, and that's what we're really concerned about as well. What may not seem like much of an inconvenience for us is a major inconvenience for people that are already in rain-strapped areas. They're just getting drier, warm areas are getting warmer. And then kind of more turbulent areas like where we sit, we're getting these really drastic heavy rains, for example, or increases in temperature that we're not used to. And that it's about planning for the future, because at the minute, there's no change to the fact it's going to get warmer. So we're just going to have to deal with it. We're going to have to deal with those changes that happen then more generally as well.
And like, now I know other parts of the world are already feeling far more drastic effects of climate change than we are here on this particular island. But yet we are seeing changes. You know, we are seeing maybe flowers in bloom at a time of the year when they wouldn't ordinarily be in bloom. And I even know, like, my own allergies seem to be year long now, as opposed to there was a point in time where it was a summer basis situation. And even I know with my own dog, her pollen related allergies, they span over months now, where it was just maybe May and June. So we're seeing these subtle effects. But when it comes to, and I know this is all anecdotal, but like when it comes to the downpours, like, you know, many people in the Midlands will remember the flooding of 2009. And we know that, say, the Shannon Callows are of particular concern when there is any kind of potential flooding. So how concerned should we be by the fact that when we are getting rainfall, that it is coming in these downpours that are much heavier?
Yeah, so like I don't want to bring doom and gloom to everyone, but I'm part of the Was It Us project, and our mandate is to look at these extreme events in Ireland. So as they happen, we'll be doing a study. People were wondering why this was so Dublin-centric. It wasn't. It was just there was rainfall that happened to hit Dublin, Wicklow, Wexford. So in the future, if there was, say, high rainfall events or weather, temperature events, etc., we look at them in the different aspects depending where they are. We've done one in Middleton before. So yeah, anecdotally, even myself, I've noticed that I'm not wearing as many heavy coats in the winter, and that is slightly concerning as well. I think I can probably safely say that we should be seeing similar kind of effects with the rainfall across Ireland, but we wait and see if we do a study in the West Coast, etc., in the future. I just think it really is about being prepared, understanding our hydrology, which Med Éireann have a hydrology section now, so they're already on that. The local councils are already on it. They know they need to put in these flood mitigation systems, pumping systems, etc. So it's just allowing that to happen in your locality and really just being cognizant. Simple things like, actually, this is somebody else's study, but they were saying, you know, like, stop paving your gardens. A bit of grass in your garden can help water sink down. Really just small, simple things like that, making sure your stores are clean. If you know that this storm's coming, clean it just really quickly. It takes 5 minutes. But just being kind of prepared in the future that, yeah, these are going to be heavier rainfall events. And especially if they've been preceded by a few weeks of wet. I mean, farmers already know this. I'm just preaching to the choir here, but wet soils can't take any more moisture. So you just have to be really aware. But also dry soils can't take much moisture. So if a soil is really dry or really wet, water ends up sitting on the top of the soil. So just being aware of like what levels we're at that time to see how the rainfall is actually going to affect it.
And I think as well, like that piece about like the fact that we're creating, you know, concrete jungles effectively, and we're not leaving space for water to run off in urban areas in particular, it is causing issues.
Oh yeah, definitely. You can't really deny that at all. Yeah.
So then, Claire, like you say, yourself and your colleagues in ICARUS, you're working with the teams in Met Éireann. You will keep studying these events when they happen. Based on this particular study, is there anything the general population can learn?
I think it is interesting because we knew that there was some change with rainfall. Rainfall is not as easy to like understand. Temperature is getting warmer, everything's getting warmer. We kind of get that, but yeah, just it's interesting to see that rainfall, slightly more frequency of say like downpouring events, but not much change there. It's that they're heavier rainfalls. I find that quite interesting when I actually studied it, because I wasn't sure what we were going to see, just because it's quite unclear. And rainfall has been affected differently globally, so it's quite interesting to see how the patterns change. And I suppose this one as well was quite interesting because of the direction Claudia came. It hit the side of the Wicklow Mountains, etc., that it wouldn't normally. So rain was falling down the side of the mountains into catchments that it wouldn't have normally hit. So that does amplify things as well. But yeah, I've worked a good bit on the West Coast. I know exactly what their rain's like. And if we are seeing similar trends there, they can expect weather too. And just be ready with your sandbags, unfortunately, if Wet Éireann do issue a warning that it's going to be wet. Probably just pay heed to it.
Okay, so we're all going to have to learn how to become prepared, to have the wellies ready, the umbrellas, the rain gear, like you said, that the drains have been cleaned and are able to take, like we can do small measures in our own individual households to try and prevent this becoming any worse. And as you say, leave the grass alone and let it be grass, as opposed to, yet another parking space that we may not actually need, even though I know it might make parking a little bit more convenient. Well, Dr. Clare Bergin of Maynooth University and the ICARUS Centre there, thank you very much for joining us on Let's Go Green.
Thank you for having me.
We'll be back after the break. You're listening to Let's Go Green here on Midlands 103. Well, it is, I cannot believe it, but it's the 1st of December as we speak, and we are now very much in the festive season. And this can be a financially challenging time of year, particularly for families. So when I saw this press release about an initiative happening in County Offaly, I thought we have to get it on the show. So if you've got little ears in the house, definitely encourage them to listen to this one. I'm joined now by Offaly County Council's Just Transition Officer, Aoife Mangan. Aoife, you're very welcome to the programme.
Thanks a million, Aisling. Thanks for having me on.
Now, Aoife, a number of months ago, we spoke with Georgia from the Toy Library, but for people who might not have heard that piece, what exactly is the Toy Library?
Yeah, so the Toy Library is a social enterprise based in Cork. They started out with an online swap and save hub, so parents can sign up, list their toys and swap with other local families. Getting new to them toys, I suppose. And this platform is now all over Ireland. So they now also work with local authorities and other climate conscious companies, and they bring physical swap and save events to communities. And so the Circular Christmas event is an example of this.
Exactly.
And their premise, I suppose, is just around reducing plastic waste, and this aligns with the values, I suppose, of ourselves and Offaly County Council.
And I suppose the issue really is, when it comes to children's toys, it's an industry that's highly regulated, rightly so, for safety reasons and all of that. But an awful lot, a very, very, very high percentage of toys are made from virgin plastic, brand new plastic. So, and there's so many of them made and discarded every year. So the idea of the Toy Library is that if your child has finished playing with a particular toy, they can pass it on to another house, another family, another youngster. So that instead of generating more waste and more environmental damage, they can do something positive for the environment.
That's exactly it, Aisling. I suppose, we recognise that Christmas is a very expensive time of year for families, and it's also a time where there's a lot of waste. So we want to try, I suppose, to help to reduce that financial pressure on families. And so this event will help families, I suppose, to access new to them toys without the cost of buying new.
Yeah.
And I suppose also it reflects our commitment in Offaly County Council to climate action. Reducing waste, cutting down on the number of toys going to landfill, and I think also helping families to take small practical steps that genuinely make a difference to climate goals.
Yeah, that's a very fair point, Aoife, because I think a lot of families really want to do right by the environment, but can sometimes, with the busyness of life, that can be very, very hard and stressful as it is anyway. And then this big problem on top of that, it all can be a bit overwhelming.
Absolutely. And we hear that from people all the time, what can I do to make a difference? And this is something that's really practical, that will make a difference. We will reduce the number of plastic toys going to landfill as a result of this event and the events of this type that are going on around the country.
So talk to me about this particular event that's being organised in conjunction between the Toy Library and Offaly County Council. What's happening?
Yes, so Offaly County Council are delighted to partner with the Toy Library on this event. The Circular Christmas Toy Swap and Save will be held on December 6th at Tullamore GAA Club from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. This is a free family event, and children are encouraged to bring up to 5 really good condition pre-loved toys and swap them for new to them toys.
And when you say they're encouraged to bring, say, up to 5 pieces, do they have to have toys to donate? Are they allowed to come to take away but not donate, first of all?
Absolutely. They can come with no toy at all. We're more than happy for children to come. I suppose we're really committed to strong communities in Offaly County Council, and our community and culture and our integration team are both involved in this alongside our climate action team. Because we want this main event for all families in Offaly, including our new communities as well. So absolutely, there's other events on the day to the Swap and Save as well. We'll have eco tattoos. We will have a crafting corner. We'll have a teacher hub as well, so you can bring your teddy along for some cuddle prescriptions.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and also I think a really interesting part of the day is we'll have a Christmas jumper swap and save. So I know in my house I have so many Christmas jumpers that my kids have grown out of. They're really lightly used, so I intend to bring them along on the day and swap them for Christmas jumpers that fit. So I think that's a really nice part of the event as well.
Okay, so you're going to so it's at Tullamore GAA Club this coming Saturday. And
that's the 6th of December, yeah.
Yes, so if in an ideal world, you'll bring along 5 toys or some Christmas jumpers that are too small or are no longer in use. Mm. They should be in good condition and, ready for another family to take them on. Yes. And you donate them, but then you can exchange them for toys that maybe a child is more interested in and a new to you Christmas jumper, perhaps.
Exactly. That's exactly it.
And the whole day itself, so you've got the crafting corner, and then tell me about the teddy bear corner. What's happening there?
Yes. Yeah. So that's a nice little part of the day as well. You can bring along your teddy. They might have, a little injury or something like that. So we'll be able to take a look at it on the day. There's going to be some volunteers there that can have a look and see if their teddy can be repaired or fixed. Or might just need a cuddle prescription, as I mentioned. Well,
that's fantastic because teddies work really hard, and sometimes they need a bit of a rest and a bit of TLC sometimes. So if you bring your teddy along for a cuddle prescription on Saturday, they'll be all right and rain and ready for all of the festivities in the coming weeks. Yes. Is there any charge for the event on Saturday?
No, it's a free to attend event. You do have to sign up on Eventbrite, but it's free. There's no cost involved. I suppose it's just to manage numbers and to make sure that we have Christmas cookies available for everyone who attends on the day. If you search for the Toy Library Offaly, you should find the link, or you'll find the link on Council socials or the Toy Library social media.
Okay, fantastic. And do you know what to do? I might ask the team in the station to include a link in the show notes as well if you're listening to us as a podcast or on social media. So that's the Toy Library Christmas Circular event happening in Tullamore GAA Club this coming Saturday. Aoife, what time is it running from and until again?
from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Fantastic. But do remember to book your ticket in advance so they have enough cookies stocked, and we don't want anybody disappointed on the day. So make sure, while it is free, that you do get your name down. And then if you do want to do a bit of a clear out between now and then, the team in Offaly County Council and at the Toy Library, they're looking for safe and in good condition toys that are ready to be shared with other households, and those Christmas jumpers. And you're right, Aoife, like those Christmas jumpers, they get worn for, you know, maybe the night out or the staff photo and put away again. So why not change it up this year?
For the day out, the day in school, you know, and that's it, they're put away. So by the next year, they're too small. So this is a nice opportunity to get a new jumper as well.
Well, Aoife Mangan, Just Transition Officer with Offaly County Council, best of luck with the event, and thank you for joining us on Let's Go Green.
Sorry, could I just also mention
Absolutely
2 things? KMK Metal Recycling also reached out to us, and they will have a container available on the day. So if people would like to bring their old or broken Christmas lights or electrical toys, they can donate them into the container on the day, and KMK Metal Recycling will make a weight-based donation to a children's charity.
Oh, that's amazing. That's absolutely brilliant to know. So broken electrical toys or Christmas lights?
Or Christmas lights. That's exactly it. And they will make a donation based on the weight of what we gather.
That's fantastic. There's always that moment, Aoife, isn't there? You open the box to start decorating the house and you go through the mess of cables. I was taught a number of years ago, and maybe every other house does this, right? But just in case you don't, you get the inside, the cardboard insert of the kitchen towel, the kitchen paper towels, which some households still use, or roll up a newspaper and gently wrap the Christmas lights around the newspaper, because I think it's when people don't put them away properly that's when they get broken, really, isn't it?
That's a really good tip, actually. Yeah, I take that on board.
We've been doing that in the O'Rourke household for many years. I know you can buy Christmas light rings and all these sort of gadgets, but all you need to do is your most recent copy of the Tullamore Tribune or Offaly Independent, roll it up, and we have papers going back to the 90s. It's actually quite a bit of fun when you open them every year. Oh, but Aoife Mangan of Offaly County Council, thank you very much for joining us on Let's Go Green, and best of luck with the event on Saturday.
Thanks a million, Aisling. I just want to mention, while I have the opportunity, Midlands Ireland are holding an event in the Two Arena in Athlone on December the 3rd, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And this event will showcase the Midlands as a good place to live, study and work. And it promises to be a great celebration of all that's good in the Midlands as well. So I just want to take the opportunity to give that a shout out.
No worries at all. Well, listen, Aoife, I'll have to let you go. But listen, thank you very much for your time. We will be back after the break.
Surprise yourself with the all-new 252 Suzuki range at Hugo Luna Motors. Suzuki's Japanese quality is ready to stand out and make you feel proud every time you drive. Whether it's the zippy Swift or the adventure-ready S-Cross, enjoy 0% finance, handy tech, safety features and great value as standard. All wrapped in the fun and efficiency of a hybrid. The only tough part? Choosing which car to drive. Visit hugolunamotors.ie today, where we're not just different, we're good different. Finance subject to status, terms and conditions apply.
You're listening to Let's Go Green here on Midlands 103. Well, last month I had the honour of hosting the Offaly Community and Voluntary Awards, and at that particular night the theme was around Meitheal and the power of communities coming together to create a positive impact on their locality. Now, those awards highlighted work by historical societies, sports clubs, retirement groups, but also had a sustainable element as well. And a Five Alley local development group won the sustainable category of their awards. So I decided we had to speak to the people involved. So we're joined now by Una Watkins and Rita Guinan. Ladies, you are both welcome to the programme.
Thank you very much, Aisling.
Thanks, Aisling.
Rita, talk to us about your development group. What exactly is it that you do?
Okay, well, Five Alley Development Group has been around since 2003. And initially the group was set up, for community development purposes, village enhancement, organising. Over the years, we were involved in community alert and a series of different initiatives. And I suppose in 2022, with the support of the local development, Offaly Local Development Company, the parish began to scope out a plan that would take it up to 2027. And during the course of that plan, developing the plan, there was a lot of research carried out, including a survey, a household survey, to see where people were at, what their needs were, etc. And, the plan was subsequently launched in February 2024. It's titled Our Vision and Future. And one of the goals in that was to accelerate, if you like, transition from fossil fuels to renewable energy sources. And, anybody who knows where Fively is, it's a little shroud, a little village. It's one of 3 villages in the parish of Eglish Drumcullen. Just, the N52 runs through it. There's approximately 420 dwellings in that parish, about 1,200, individuals. It's a very big parish, Eglish and Drumcullen. There's 7 electoral areas in it, 81 townlands, and as I said, 3 villages. So, but one of the key employers in the area for almost 50 years was the Derrenlock briquette factory. And anybody in South Offaly will attest to the fact that, B&M was such an employer in the area. And the briquette factory itself closed in May 2023. And, at the same time, there was restrictions coming in around cutting turf, and this was, our area was reliant on fossil fuel, reliant on briquettes and turf for generations. So our little group then at one of the meetings discussed this and what could we do as a parish, as a group, to accelerate that transition. And we wrote to Bord na Móna to see would they be interested in getting involved with our area on a pilot solar project where we would support homeowners to install PV panels and shift the reliance away from turf and briquettes.
That's really interesting because you're describing there a very typical rural part of Ireland. And I think, when we say Five Valley, for people who are familiar with the N52, it is one of those areas that if you're not going specifically to Five Valley, you blink and you'll miss it. That's not wanting to be, in any way negative about it, but we kind of drive by these places and don't think too much of them. But 400 households, it's quite a major area when you actually start thinking about it. So then the idea of going from maybe a turf-fueled range or hearth in the kitchen to solar power, what kind of reaction did you get from people in the community when you initially put the idea forward?
Well, when we wrote to Bord na Móna, first of all, just to see was there any interest. And from that, we held a meeting in the local GAA Centre, and we brought in the Sustainable Energy Authority, SEAI mentor, Lawrence O'Reilly. And we mooted the whole concept with the community and with B&M on the day. Once we knew that there was a bit of interest in this, that we'd have to go out and scope it out and, go back out to the parish to see if there was interest. But we knew from the scoping exercise to do with the parish plan that The barrier for homeowners in terms of installing PV panels was the cost.
Yeah.
We knew monetary, it was the real reason was the cost. So we knew that if we could bring any sort of incentive to the table, that we would be able to mobilize, if you like, the people of Five Valley to invest in PV. So then we held a public meeting. We invited in anybody who was interested. After that meeting, we took 101 expressions of interest from people who would be keen or interested in installing panels, if we could get any additional support. So this was really strong, I suppose, testimony for us that there was an interest in the parish. And we then put forward a proposal, a written submission to B&M for support. And they came on board and said, look, yes, we'll run a pilot with you and see, can you get 50 houses, 50 of those 101 to go ahead in 2024-25. And then we'll see where we go from there. So for us then, we had to go out, find, get a costing for the project. So we invited 12 different contractors to, give us quotations for a solar Meitheal on the basis that we'd have 50 houses, but potentially in phase 2, another 50. We got 5 serious quotations back. Our SCAI mentor helped us evaluate those quotations. We were very fortunate then to be able to appoint a really good contractor, AEI, based in Tullamore, a local contractor. And so now our tripartite project with SCAI, B&M, the community, we also had a local contractor. So it was in everyone's interest for the Five Valley Solar Meitheal to succeed.
I'll bring Una in now, because I know, Una, you have been working away to collate how successful this has all been. Because sometimes I think, people might think, oh, this is a great idea, but it's an awful lot of work. And is it really worth it at the end of the day? So you've gotten all of these families, these households on board. You've gotten, sponsors and a contractor appointed. How successful has it been for Five Valley?
It's been phenomenal, and I think it's been really visible. You mentioned a few moments ago that the Five Valley is somewhere that maybe you could drive through and miss it if you weren't ready to catch yourself. But drive through to Five Valley today and you might see some of the 735 solar panels that have been installed by AEI as a first phase, the 57 homes that installed the panels. We've been able to generate nearly 300,000 kilowatt hours of energy. So to put that in terms of trees planted, that could be close to 8,500 trees that was planted relative to the type of energy that we have created and saved, or equivalent to 1.4 million kilometers driven in an average car. They're phenomenal statistics, and it's trying to record it, understand it, share it to create that momentum for the next phase. So we're fortunate, and Rita might reference that phase 2 that we are moving into now, but also maybe some of the responsibility we have to help create momentum for other community groups and that might want to consider a Meitheal. So the Meitheal itself refers to communities coming together to help one another. And that's what our solar Meitheal is looking to do by cooling demand, securing better pricing, sharing knowledge, reducing the administrative burden that otherwise mightn't make it possible for homeowners to do something like this.
By coming together at that scale, by getting so many households involved, were you able to bring down the cost for householders? Because I know Rita mentioned that the issue wasn't, I don't want to get solar panels on my house. The issue was, I can't afford to put solar panels on my house when you started this piece of work.
Absolutely. And again, I think that goes back to by working collaboratively and to secure contractors such as Alternative Energy Ireland, they were able to position very competitively relative to the cost of their labour and their material. In the round, most houses, all houses in phase one, they benefited from a grant from FDI of €2,100, and that was matched by B&M of €2,100. So straight away, each householder homeowner went into this project with €4,200 of funding that otherwise they may not have been available to them. And then with the attractive competitive rates from AI, it made it very competitive. So the average payback period is about 2.5 to 3 years. Now, each house might have slightly different range of how many.
So, Rita, it is now, like, as you say, it's a case study for collaboration and the power of a Meitheal in a modern Meitheal, put it that way. What's next for Five Valley Local Development Group, given the success of this particular project?
Well, look, at this is we still have to get through phase two, Aisling. We have got to deliver that and make sure that the 70 houses that want to get into it. There's a lot of management. I really think that community groups out there that are within a 10-kilometre catchment of a wind farm should look at it as what is in this for the local community. It's just for us. We'll finish this phase and then see where it takes us. But it is a pilot. I have to stress that.
Well, we started this week's episode of Let's Go Green learning about the impact of human-created climate change and these really heavy downpours we're experiencing, which isn't the happiest of topics to be discussing. And we live in a world which is quite troubling. So it's lovely to be able to feature such positive action here in the Midlands and just to witness the power of the Meitheal thriving in 2025. I'm sure we'll be hearing more from Five Valley Local Development Group. But for now, Rita, Guinan and Una Watkins, thank you both for joining us on Let's Go Green.
Thanks, Aisling.
Thanks very much, Aisling.
We'll be back after the break. You're listening to Let's Go Green here on Midlands 103. Now, if the Five Alley Solar Meitheal has inspired you, the Derrenlock Wind Farm Community Benefit Fund team have organised a community information evening. This event is for local community groups and prospective applicants to learn about the fund itself, how to apply and how to ask questions to B&M, who administer the fund. The information evening takes place this coming Wednesday evening at St Mary's Parish Hall, Ferban Street, Claudia, and the air code for that in County Offaly is R42AK24. And the time of that meeting, it'll take place between 7 and 8:30 at St Mary's Parish Hall in Ferban this coming Wednesday evening. So if Five Valley has made you think about creating your own solar Meitheal, well, this would be an opportunity to find out more about this fund and how you might avail of it with your local community. So it's an opportune time to pop in to the meeting this coming Wednesday evening. Now, of course, we cannot forget to mention once again the toy swap initiative, the Christmas Circular Economy event organised by the Toy Library and Offaly County Council. That is taking place this December 6th, this coming Saturday morning at the Tullamore GAA Centre. But it is important, you do need to book tickets. The tickets are free, but they're available on Eventbrite. And if you're listening to this as a podcast, just go to the show notes and we'll have a link there. And I've also included the link in my own social media posts for this week's episode of Let's Go Green. So if you follow me on Instagram or on LinkedIn, you'll be able to find the link in my post as well, just to make it a little bit easier for you. I'm afraid, though, that is all we have time for on this week's episode of Let's Go Green. As always, if there's an item that you would like us to cover on the show, please do get in contact with me. You can email me directly, hello@thecommunicationscoach.ie or through midlands103.com, or pick up the phone and call the team at Midlands 103 and they will put you in contact with me. I hope you have a fabulous week. I am going to go back to putting up my Christmas decorations and my Christmas lights and all of that lovely jazz. But for now, have a great week, stay safe, and I'll be back same time next week with another episode of Let's Go Green here on Midlands 103.